It's the time for Package from China. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's awesome that you're tuning in. So in this video we are going to take a close look at the Powkiddy, the version 2 or V2. This thing has support for controllers, it has an 11 simulators and connectable to television. So Powkiddy is entering like the budget, we can say like the budget war of handhelds. We have reviewed a lot of these weird ones. So I think they called the Game Fighter. And let's put it this way, Game Station, Game Box, they come with all kinds of different names. But this one particular one is quite strange. It comes with a very short Type-C cable for charging. Then we're going to get ourselves the Toilet Paper Manual Deluxe with some explanations in different languages. And that's it, like nothing much to say about it. So basically like, this is a really budget device and there is no, let's say, battery that you can replace fairly easy, though I've seen with different versions. This thing is fully made out of plastic, so this is like a real budget. So at the bottom part we're going to get the Type-C connection and the USB for a controller. But take consideration, this still has like some limitations when it comes to controllers, because it doesn't support everything, and this is like not of the best, I say, configuration method what you can get when you're plugging in a controller. We're going to get a D-pad. This thing feels quite flimsy. It's a very long travel D-pad, quite huge. There's no analog stick. The button layout is kind of strange, like this rainbow effect. Then we're going to get home, select and start, and at the front we're going to get a tiny speaker. So here we're going to get volume control on and off, the SD card. You can put them in here, and of course we're going to get the option to use an AV out cable, but nothing was included, so that's a little bit of a bummer. One thing that is different is that the firmware is not on the SD card. That I have seen that before in previous videos, and that was like a big bummer because plastic. But the biggest problem is like if you're having the firmware on the SD card and your SD card is getting corrupted, you will have a problem. Okay, so next up, let's take a close look at the display itself. So they're using like the cheap displays and the viewing angle is pretty damn horrible. Here you can see like it's not even a normal LCD, it's like the cheap to the cheap ones. So when putting it up, you will see it in different... Oh man. You have the option to put in different language, but that's always the question, where can you find it? This is the display. Let's see, this is the TV out functionality, and this is the language selection. Aha! Alright, so then we're going to get ourselves the product information. And here see, you can like, there is nothing of an internal storage possible. So this is basically what you're going to get. The product information is quite strange, like there's not like version 1 or whatever. Let's see, power settings that we've seen before. And when we're going to boot up, we're going to get the menu that we also have seen before with mini arcades. We do have the option to watch a video, play games, watch an ebook, watch pretty pictures or naughty pictures, and of course you can listen to some music. Here we're going to get the file system. So that's quite interesting. If you're going to put an SD card inside this bad boy and you want to load up a game, you can also use the file system to get into the SD card. And that's it. Like there's nothing else to see basically with this device. Okay, so games, it depends on what you want to put on it. Like you can basically slap a lot of different devices in here. But the question remains, how good will it run? So let's check out how it is with the, let's say, basic systems. Don't expect it to run to PlayStation 1 because PlayStation 1 is something that is quite demanding and will not run most of the time of the cheap handhelds. But it's pretty damn awesome with these devices. Though we do have the option doing quick load, quick save, return, and here we can go exit to the main menu, and it has an indication over here for the volume. Quite interesting for configuration. Okay guys, so first of all, like the display, you can see like when you slightly tilting the display, you can really see that the view angle is pretty damn bad. But let's run some 8-bit. When it comes to 8-bit, it runs just fine. Another thing I noticed, the audio quality is pretty damn good. Okay, so another thing I really like is the Game Boy on this, because it will fill up the screen itself. It's not like authentic to the original experience. You don't have like filter options, stuff like that. I think it's a really fun way to play your old school Game Boy games. Another thing I've noticed that the D-pad is quite responsive. Okay, so next up let's try some Game Boy Advance, but the sound seems to be working just fine. All the sound effects are here, but you can see this weird line at the bottom. So it's always such a bummer, like there is something that is it's like a bummer that is a mess up something. Oh, you could hear the freaking slowdown there. Alright, next up let's try MAME. The consideration will be very limited to, let's say, the older MAME games. So if you're going to play some Mortal Kombat 1, or don't even think about Skillers, things, stuff like that. The biggest surprise of this handheld is like when you're playing beat 'em ups, I just realized that this thing is very comfortable when it comes to the D-pad. I wish they added like a little bit better display, so the viewing angle would be better. But for a cheap handheld, I think it's not bad when it comes to the performance, when it comes to the gameplay, stuff like that. No audio delay or weird stuff going on. I don't hear any big slowdowns. Alright guys, so next up let's try some Beefcake and Wolfies. So let's punch him in the face and kick him in the balls, just like it is, like it all. Like you need to play some Beefcake and Wolfie. And when you're going to get Beefcake, you just punch him in the face or kick him in the balls. Oh yeah. But the emulation performance is okay. It's what you can expect from a cheap device like this. Okay, but if you want to try to boot up a PlayStation 1 game, it will reboot or give you an error. So that is not possible to play on this tiny Powkiddy version number 2. But this is what we're going to get with the emulation performance. It's a cheap handheld, and yeah, I must say, like, this is not the best emulation performance I've seen, but for the money we cannot complain. So the next thing that we're going to do is turn it off, and let's do a quick teardown just to see what we're going to get. And turning off this bloody thing off takes freaking forever, because I'm always curious of what I'm going to get in the inside. There was no freaking, come, here it goes. There was no AV out cable, and yeah, when it comes to the controller capability, it's very limited with some controllers. So this function, it's great that they try it, but yeah, it's not great. Like, they didn't even put the effort to give me a freaking cable to begin with. Alright, so let's do a quick teardown, my friends. So I had some struggles with my normal screwdriver, so I always having this kit laying around. I also bought it on AliExpress for like, I think like $10 or something like that, but it's super convenient and makes the work or the teardown way better and way faster. But when you're looking at these devices again, like, you cannot expect the world of it. And when it comes to this jungle of handhelds, we're having so many options. Sometimes when you're paying like, let's say $20 more, you're just going to get more for your money, like more options, more stuff you can do with it. And that is something you need to take into consideration, especially with these cheap handhelds. I just love to review them just to show you what you're going to get in the end. But it is not like a freaking miracle. Alright, so let's get all the screws back into position and let's take a close look and let's do a quick teardown. I was being very careful. There it is, there was one screw that was still in here. So they even added some spacers or some foam for giving it some distance for the battery. Here we're going to get the on and off switch. The downside to this thing is that, yeah, there is only like no way of basically reconnecting it. Everything has been straightly soldered on the PCB. I'm not the biggest fan of this, simply because when you do this, or you need to replace it, you need to iron and solder and iron. And that is something they can just change fairly easy, because I've seen like cheap devices that have like an option to plug it out and just plug it in if you want to replace your battery. The battery itself, let's see what we're going to get. I almost say that it is a 1200 milliamp, but yeah, but a 200 sounds a little bit too less. But yeah, 12 milliamps, that's basically what we're going to get when it comes to the battery life itself. It will give you a couple of hours of playtime, nothing really fancy. But when you're looking at the room that is inside, you would like have the option to get yourself a bigger battery, because you still have like a lot of free space. So that option is possible. But I think the battery will cost more than the freaking handheld, or that's what I guess. Okay, well, it's a good thing that you can basically replace the LCD if you want to, because it is like attached to a ribbon cable and a connector over here. They sent off early information and we don't know what kind of chip is in here. This was a Samsung chip for storage capacity, I think. Yes, I think it is. Yeah, it's a Samsung storage chip. But basically, like, there's not a lot to see. Like, they have the same spacers for the monitor to put it in place. But there's nothing really fancy to see in here. They're still using the cheap, really cheap translucent membranes over here and there, but yeah, that doesn't really matter. The D-pad is quite good of this device. Micro switches over here for the menu buttons. So yeah, when you're looking at all of everything, it's a little bit bummer they send off the chip information. It will be cool to see what this thing is running on. Alright guys, so this is what we're going to get with the Powkiddy, the V2. It's like a budget series handheld that we have seen many times before. This time it comes with a very strange menu. But of course the PlayStation Portable sound that they always rip off. The display itself is pretty damn horrible. I do like the controls and also the rainbow design. I think it's not bad. I think it's quite a comfortable hand to play. Also due of the size. The battery only 1200 milliamps, so that's not huge. Will not give you like a lot of playtime. Yeah, let me know in the comments what you think of these cheap devices. I want to thank you for watching. Consider subscribing, hit that little bell, become the Wicked family, and we'll see you in the next video.